Today was a big day for Kami. She and her friends wanted to kill Valakkar. So Kami made her way to Grimhex to buy some railgun ammo. Once at Grimhex, she made her way out of her F7 and went straight to Scudder's. At Grimhex, she bought all the railgun ammo she could find. It seems like it's out of stock, which was very strange. Once she had all the ammo she needed, she went back to her F7 and went straight to Pot Wrestler. And this is how it went. Once at Pot Wrestler, she refilled her F7 with quantum fuel. Suddenly there was an explosion. She was not sure what this was. Was there an attack going on? But it was just Star Citizen being Star Citizen. All fighter pilots landed their fighters inside the Idris, which was her command center and respawn point on this mission. She quickly headed up towards the medical bay and transferred her imprint to the Idris. She made her way out and EVA'd towards the A2. She quickly opened the door and made her way in. When everyone was ready, they made their way to the Lazarus site. Once at the Lazarus site, Kami boarded the MDC with her friends as a ground crew. And now there was no going back. Once outside, they were swarmed by enemies. They had one target: go to the shuttle station. The fighters cleared the way for the ground team. They headed towards the shuttle and one was arriving, but they had to wait for the rest of the team. Once inside the building, they had some small problems. But a few shots and a tractor beam later, everyone was safe. After this first small hiccup, there was an enemy sneaking up on Kami. She quickly dealt with him. Some desync later, everyone was finally ready to board the shuttle. Under heavy fire, the shuttle made their way towards the core of the facility. Once there, the group was met with heavy radiation and lots of enemies. The fighting was chaotic. Some shots were missed, but the whole group fought for their life. It seemed like there were unlimited enemies, and Kami was not sure if they could make it. After many rounds of ammo, the team went downwards the stairs, where more enemies were waiting for them. The air support dropped some bombs. And then Kami heard one of her friends go down. She quickly ran over and helped him, and they all continued fighting. The team made their way towards the entrance. Only to be greeted by more and more enemies. It seemed like ASD had unlimited money for all these employees. But our group was just stronger and better trained. Under heavy air support, the group finally made it towards the entrance of the facility. Inside the building, they quickly scanned for enemies, but it seemed safe for a moment. The group headed upwards to the laboratory and they activated the egg. Once the egg was activated, the alarm rang and enemies swarmed the group of friends. Kami took out one after the other, but it looked like it would never stop. After waves and waves of enemies, the timer finally completed, and the team was ready to advance to the next sector. But it was not safe. Once the last enemy was down, they checked the room if there were enemies left. With the egg in their possession, they pushed towards the exit. After a few copians, they finally made it outside. But outside was not better. They ran towards this pole to set down the egg and finally summon the Valakkar. The small group finally made it. And they summoned the Valakkar. Kami was frightened. She couldn't believe her eyes, and she ran behind cover. Once behind cover, she quickly switched to her railgun and began shooting this monster. The A2 bomber from Kami's team was also targeting the Valakkar. The radiation was extreme, and this monster was still alive. Kami was not sure if they can make it, but they had to try. With reflexes like a ninja, Kami quickly shot these two smaller worms which spawned right next to her. She then heard on the radio that one of her team was down. She quickly ran over to help him. The whole scene was like a nightmare. She finally found her friends and helped him. The radiation was getting worse, but the Valakkar was still alive, so there was no time to waste. So Kami and her team were shooting the Valakkar relentlessly. After many magazines of railgun ammo, the monster was still alive. The radiation was so strong, Kami had problems with her eyes, but she kept on fighting. Was this the end? Was it all over? Or was there another chance? Once back on her feet, Kami quickly made her way out. The Valakkar was still there, still alive, but she had a second chance. Out of railgun ammo, she switched to her trusty P4 and started shooting at the Valakkar. It was finally over. The Valakkar was dead. But Kami and her team were not finished with the mission yet. They quickly patched themselves up and went straight outside to gather the resources from the Valakkar. The group found these very large fangs. And there were also these pots which could be mined to get something very special out of it. And Kami finally got to see the radiated pearl. She and her friends packed all items to the freight elevator and made it out of this hellhole. At the shuttle station, the Idris was waiting for them. With everyone alive, the Valakkar slain, there was only one thing left to do: to finally sit down and relax.